Six Flags Great Adventure has one of the best coaster collections out there. Not only does it have some truly amazing rides, but the variety of coasters to choose from is outstanding. With so many incredible attractions, it can be hard to pick favorites, but nevertheless, here are my top 10 coasters at Six Flags Great Adventure. Just a quick note though, I won't be including Skull Mountain on this list, because when I went there 10 days ago, it wasn't operating, they were installing VR on it, so I didn't really get a chance to experience it again. And considering the last time I rode it was in 2005, I don't think that I could give a fair assessment of it. But anyways, here's my top 10 list. Number 10 is the Runaway Mine Train, and while I did get some enjoyment out of this ride, it was certainly one of the weaker coasters at the park. My main gripe with this ride was its roughness. It definitely had a good amount of vibration. This is especially a problem on that last helix over the pond. A scenic element like that should be smooth so riders can enjoy it, and yet the track gets so rough at that point you feel like the train is just going to launch you into the water. However, it still had some pretty good drops and gives a decent night ride too. If the track were smoother, it would be a lot better than it actually is. Taking 9th place is Green Lantern, the park's B&M stand-up coaster. Believe it or not, despite this being a stand-up coaster, I actually liked it. Its inversions were forceful and huge, and the layout always seemed to have something new to offer. It certainly wasn't boring. On the other hand, because it's a stand-up coaster, it feels pretty awkward to ride at times, especially with that bicycle seat below you. This ride requires you to stand up straight at all times, which can really wear out your legs if you've been walking around the park all day. It's also got a bit of a rattle, which didn't really bug me, but was just something I noticed. But all in all, Green Lantern was pretty good for a stand-up coaster, and I wouldn't mind checking it out again. Number 8 is the Dark Knight Coaster, and this is probably one of my favorite Wild Mouse coasters out there. It's got some of the best theming ever for a Wild Mouse coaster, I can say that for sure. Not only that, but unlike the Gotham City Gauntlet at Six Flags New England, the ride's restraints don't crush your thighs, making the switchbacks much more comfortable. Plus, the dips in the dark are totally thrilling, and while this isn't the most intense coaster out there, I had a great time riding it. Plus, it gave me a good chance to get out of the 95-degree weather that day. Ugh. Next up is Kingda at number 7. Now, I know a lot of you guys might be saying, how could you put the world's tallest roller coaster at number 7? Are you crazy? Well, here's my reasoning for it. I do find this coaster to be exciting, and that view from the top is absolutely incredible. However, I had a few issues with it. First of all, the launch wasn't that smooth. Now, I did ride this in the back row, and I've heard that the front is much better, but from what I felt, it was like that cable was tugging the train along instead of simply pulling it. The launch also felt pretty gradual, so it really didn't feel that fast. The ride goes 128 miles per hour, but it just doesn't feel like that. As a result, it didn't feel as forceful as I was hoping for either. Perhaps the most annoying thing about this ride was the outdated over-the-shoulder restraints, which not only feel completely unnecessary, but because the track has somewhat of a rattle to it, your neck is going to hit those restraints, which takes away from the experience. Nevertheless, you can certainly get a kick out of this ride, and the fact that it's a record breaker makes it a must-ride at the park. As a whole though, it was an enjoyable ride, but I was pretty underwhelmed by it. I'm sure if I get to do it in the front row next year, it'll be a lot better, but for now, it's coming in 7th. 6th place will be another controversial choice, the Joker. This is an S&S free spin that will be in 5 parks total next year, and a lot of enthusiasts are sick of seeing it pop up. Nevertheless, I was surprised by how fun this ride was. Not only was the track insanely smooth, it was made by RMC after all, but the rotations were equally smooth, which really added to the experience. The entire ride felt so surreal. The rotations combined with the track's dips really lead to a truly disorienting experience. Plus, since it was so smooth, I didn't get nauseous at all. Of course, I did take Dramamine, but I'm sure that even if I didn't, I'd still be able to ride this twice in a row. My only complaint with this ride is that it was too short. I believe it would be so much better if it was longer. But really, this ride adds some great variety to Great Adventure's coaster count, and you don't really see a lot of 4D coasters out there. I'd be more than willing to ride this every time I go down to Great Adventure, and I'm super excited for it to come to Six Flags New England. Number 5 is Batman the Ride. Now, I know that this ride can be found at so many other Six Flags parks, it's really nothing new, but You know, if you're gonna clone something, it might as well be a B&M invert like this. It's compact, it's fast-paced, it's exciting, and most importantly, it's smooth. I mean, I just love this ride. You really can never go wrong with a B&M invert, even if it's cloned. Plus, if you love a good forceful helix, there's one on this ride towards the end that is crazy. So while this isn't the most inventive coaster out there, it's certainly worth your time. Moving on, the number 4 spot goes to Superman Ultimate Flight. This is the first and only flying coaster I've ridden, and it has quite a lot going for it. The main goal of this coaster is to give you the sensation that you're flying, and this ride absolutely achieves that. And it does so in several ways. It's got a smooth track, comfortable restraints, and a forceful ride experience. Without a doubt, the most intense part is that pretzel loop, the bottom of which may even cause you to gray or black out. Moreover, if you ride this in the front row, there is nothing blocking your view, so you can get the full Superman experience. Some people aren't fans of flying coasters, but for me, this ride is more than worth the time. Taking the bronze spot is Bizzaro, the park's floorless coaster. If there's one word I'd use to describe this ride, it's epic. Not only does this ride have some really cool special effects, but its layout is large and really spread out. It's got huge, thrilling inversions, and unlike Batman Dark Knight at Six Flags New England, this ride doesn't feel short at all. While it does have a little bit of headbanging, it is by no means unbearable. In fact, I found it very smooth for the most part. While I haven't gotten a chance to ride Superman Krypton Coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas yet, this floorless ride is going to be a tough one to beat in my book. Second place is the one and only Nitro, the park's B&M hypercoaster, and this ride is just massive. It takes you on a great out and back trip with several breathtaking moments. Not only does this ride have some of the best floater airtime out there, but it's got an insanely forceful helix. You can actually feel the G's pulling your face down, and it's really easy to gray out on it. The layout is absolutely flawless as well. It's got some great airtime hills, exciting bank turns, and even the mid-course brake run is handled perfectly. Like, it doesn't kill the momentum at all. Literally, the only thing I found wrong with this ride was the brake run at the end. It was a bit jerky, but considering how comfortable the restraints were, it's easily forgivable, and the whole ride is just spectacular. It's definitely in my top 5 steel coasters right now. So what is number 1? You all know what it is. It's the one and only El Toro. This ride is crazy good. Like, I had beyond high expectations for this, and it still blew me away. It is that friggin' good. I literally have nothing bad to say about this ride. It is perfect. It is by far the best wooden coaster I have ever ridden. Now, it may not be as nostalgic or scenic as something like Boulder Dash, but it's a much more exciting ride. It's got excellent airtime, steep drops, serious speed, and a silky smooth track. Not only that, but it features some epic near-miss elements on some of the drops. When the track goes under the timber, you feel like you're going to get your head and hands chopped off. It's pretty terrifying, actually. The whole thing is just unbelievably astounding. It takes a lot for me to give a ride a perfect 10, but El Toro earns it proudly. It is the best roller coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure by a long shot, and it is certainly one of the best roller coasters I've ever ridden, period. Thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to subscribe and follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I got links in the description. This is Theme Park Crazy, and I'll see you guys next time.